Woo! Alright. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody had a good week. Hope everybody can see and hear me. Let's see. Yeah, I know I'm late, but, hey guys, I got a whole life going on over here. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun.
Savage.
All right. This idea, originally this was just gonna be a hangout stream, but then Reese, one of my mods over at the Discord, gave me this idea. Reverb. Okay. How's that? How's that? Should be good now, right? Should be good now. Let me know. Still echoing? Good now. Okay. I had 2 audio tracks open. All right. So anyway, I hope everybody had a good week. All right. We're going to do another break week stream here. This idea came from Reese over at my Discord to do something about underrated moments. This way we can get the community involved. You guys can tell me yours. I've got a whole list that I've prepared of ones that I think are great. And basically, I want to break this down into a situation where, I personally don't think that there are overrated moments in One Piece. That's just me being an Uber fan. So we're going to take situations that are highly regarded or underrated. So like if you come at me with something that I don't know, I don't think that that's necessarily underrated, I'm going to call it highly regarded. Okay. Highly regarded scenes are like, when does a man die? Or I Want to Live, Nothing Happened, the Merry Funeral. There's so many scenes that are highly regarded, but then you take, for instance, like something like Help Me, also highly regarded, right? But the underrated moment from that is the scene with Shushu all the way in Orangetown, because without that scene, you don't get Help Me, right? Because that was the scene, an underrated scene, that taught Nami what treasure meant to Luffy, right? So it sort of set up this idea of treasure right there, what it means and all of that, so that when Luffy actually puts that hat on Nami and creates that highly regarded moment, it hits. But people don't talk really about the Shushu moment and how it actually leads up to that as much. So that's where I'm coming from as far as like underrated moments and all of that. And I saw that we had a super chat before everything, started. It was Enter a Name. He said, Luffy in the bar with Bellamy. And sure, I would say that's underrated. Luffy and Zoro choosing not to fight Bellamy. Yeah, that's an underrated moment. In comparison to the highly regarded moment of Luffy punching Bellamy, right? Luffy punching Bellamy wouldn't necessarily be an underrated moment, but definitely the moment in the bar where it's a callback to the flashback with Shanks and how he didn't fight Haguma and all of that. The parallels are there. Yeah, that's underrated for sure. Of course I'd shout, Reese. It was your idea. We got Chrissy in the chat. Chrissy wanted me to let you guys know her favorite underrated moment, which was at the very beginning of Water 7, right? Before they even got to Water 7, right? After Davy Back fight, after they fought Aokiji, right? This is, if you ask Chrissy what she thinks the funniest moment in the series is, it's probably this. It's when Luffy takes the bag of sugar and he throws it in the air, punches it, and pretends he's frozen again by Aokiji. Chrissy loved that moment, and she thinks that that's underrated. I think it's underrated too. I don't hear anybody ever talk about how funny that moment is. I see. Joy said Luffy climbing up the mountain carrying Nami and Sanji. Yep, definitely an underrated moment for sure. That's it. Really, it hammers in the determination of Luffy in general, right? It's one of the first moments where, if you didn't think this guy had the guts to really take it to the end and like go for the grand line and all of that and become the Pirate King, I think in that moment you do, and you may not realize it. Gene Salazar said, "Let's go. I made it to a live stream. Happy to have you here." I saw that Enter name said, "Don't even remember that." Go back. It's even better in the anime, because it's just, you actually see that it kind of looks like, ice almost. It's funnier in the anime. It's one of the few moments. I used Nepal said, "Yo, what's up, Randy? For me, it's the whole Dressrosa arc." I have a lot of picks from Dressrosa in my list, so yeah. And I saw that I think it was Tom. He said Kyros' flashback, and yeah, that's on my list. Kyros in general, like, just him cutting Doflamingo's head off, him fighting Diamante. The whole Kyros and Rebecca flashback is underrated because people have an adverse feeling to it because of what happened in the anime where they played it 18 times. But, when you watch it on one pace and it only happens once, it hits, and it's actually one of the best flashbacks in that Oda ever did. But going back to Drum for a second, I've talked about this moment a lot, on the channel and different things, and it's also the reason why one of the reasons why I really like Vivi. The very beginning of Drum, when they first land and they have that interaction with Dalton, and they start shooting at the ship and all this, and Luffy just wants to get a doctor and everything like that, and Vivi stops Luffy. It's like, no. And like, she bows, and she gets Luffy to bow as well. And it's the first time that Luffy actually, prostrates himself. And it's not the only time that we've seen things like this from the series, but it started there. And that was like the real clear first moment where Luffy starts to understand what it means to be a leader. Because before that, not that he ever, really stopped running into situations, but that was the first moment where he stopped and thought and realized, what, this is about Nami. Let me, and then that's what gives them access to Drum. That's what gets them onto the island. It's what saves Nami in the first place. Super underrated moment. Boom, boom, boom. Crew TC, Luffy climbing the mountain in Drum. Yeah, we talked about that. Julio Porto, Doflamingo forcing Bellamy and Sarkis to fight each other until death. Well, they didn't die there. We don't know about Sarkis, but, it's assumed that he died either there or on the way to Skypiea, But that's definitely a good choice. Tom said, to be the Kyros flashback, I find it to be the most tragic backstory in the series. Yeah, it just hits me, man. It's like his wife died without even remembering him. She died without that memory, and it's like, you go back to the highly regarded moment of when does a man die? Like Kyros, you died. In that moment, you died. You're like, to Scarlet, you died. As far as One Piece logic is concerned, that is like the only confirmed death in the whole series. He's literally forgotten. Oh, yeah, super tragic. Super tragic. Kagemusha going to rescue in Eni's lobby. I would kind of say highly regarded for that. Because that's what gets them out of there. I guess in comparison to the funeral, sure. I guess most people don't necessarily talk about the rescue, but I think it's teetering the line there. Aaron said Luffy's song in Skypiea, the goat song. Yeah, definitely an underrated moment. Oh, man. Tom said you're going to make me cry just talking about it. Ah, man. Yeah. Almighty Fish Mix. Bartolomeo being introduced and messing up the undercover Marine. Yeah, Maynard, right? That's super underrated. That's definitely not on my list, but that is, and not something I was thinking of, but yeah. That was essentially our introduction to Barto, right? Because at that point we still didn't know that he was, a Luffy fanboy. So yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting. Atomic said Luffy ringing the bell. I would say highly regarded for that. I guess maybe not talked about as much anymore, but yeah, and then just the moment after that with just his shadow in the sky and Cricket seeing it. Amazing. Augie Doggy said the dog during the buggy arc in the East Blue story was really important build-up for Nami. Guess you just joined, my man. That was the one I led up with. That was my example for what is the definition of an underrated moment in comparison to a highly regarded moment. Yeah. Shushu, that whole bit was definitely that piece. We got a super chat from Buy Slow. Thank you.
Savage.
Yo, Randy, what's up? I would say Law destroying the gear is underrated, especially looking back at it. Probably a top 10 moment in the series for me. Greetings from Brooks home country, Austria. Yo ho ho. All right. Welcome to the party, man. So I would say as far as like Law moments go, the breaking the gears would be a highly regarded moment for Law. But in the big scheme of things, not talked about as much now, but it did set up the entire events of this saga that we're in now. He broke the gears, which set into motion everything in Dressrosa, which, then carried on over to Wano, of course. And I still remember seeing that panel and, reading it weekly and just this wide shot of Punk Hazard split in half and just thinking to myself, wow, how far has the power creep come? we jumped forward 2 years and now people can do this. Because in my opinion, it was more impressive than, Mihawk cutting the entire wave, because it just seemed way more massive in scale. We have 3 new underrated. Luffy telling Hancock to turn Margaret and the girls back from stone. Such a wonderful example of how kind Luffy can be. Definitely an underrated moment. Yes. Yeah. From an underrated arc. You don't see a lot of people talking about Amazon Lily to begin with, but that is one of the best moments in the arc because Hancock completely believes that Luffy is going to, choose the other option, right? And he says no. Turn them back to normal. Yeah. Let's see. MBM 997 said Sanji's thanks for the light moment with Enel. Yeah. Definitely. It's a highly regarded Sanji moment if you're a Sanji fan, right? As a Sanji fan myself, I love the thanks for a light moment. That's why I even have a statue of that very moment. But in terms of the big scheme of things, an underrated series moment for sure. And him breaking down the Arc Maxim, which essentially didn't really prove to do much, but it did save Usopp and Nami. So shout out to my boy Sanji. Reese said Mocha's sacrifice in Punk Hazard, and that's one of my least favorite arcs, but that moment was so amazing. Yeah, eating all that candy, that's definitely an underrated moment. Not a lot of people would bring that up. I think if we asked for 50 moments and all of that, I don't. Other than you saying it, I don't think anybody else would bring up Mocha in Punk Hazard. Super underrated, but yeah, that was definitely a moment. She took one for the team right there. My guy Evil Warrior 5. We've been playing a lot of Bounty Rush lately in the Discord.
Savage.
Big Mom laughing at nobody dying in the worst scenario. And Brooke saying, "My dear lady, what kind of fool would ever consider dying as a part of their plan?" I like the translation better where he says, "young lady," right? Because Brooke is like 20-something years older, 30 years older than Big Mom, whatever it is. I love that moment. As far as like character moments go, like highly regarded for Brooke, probably his best moment in the series next to breaking the caramel photo. But man, like, and then just think about it too. Like the first Straw Hat in the entire series to go up against an emperor was Brooke. That's just genius, It wasn't Luffy. It wasn't any of the monster trio. It was Brooke. The character that we really hadn't seen much from, honestly, up until that point. So, yeah. Gias Studio said the Frankie's Tank song, though. There's a lot more Punk Hazard being talked about than I thought. But, yeah. Tank utaze. That was great. Let's see what else everybody's talking about here. Sky Pia said the Rocky Port incident, extremely underrated because we don't know anything about it. Other than Law being the mastermind and Kobe being the hero. AJ1218, my guy said, "I've been saying this for years now. Brooke and Big Mom are going to be a couple at the end. They've already slept together." They have already slept together, so you think that that's endgame for them? All right, we shipping it. All right, Big Brooke. Brom. All right, let me go back to my list. Okay. So one of my favorite underrated moments, right, is just Mr. 3 countering Magellan, right? Here you have this guy who is he washed Luffy, right? In another underrated moment that doesn't get talked about enough, he washed the entirety of the Blackbeard pirates. The man wiped out a future emperor's crew, and like he one-shotted them. And then here comes Mr. 3, and he's the perfect counter for Magellan. Who, if you're making, a top 30 or anything like that, and you don't have Magellan in the top 5, you're bugging. Because that dude is unbelievably overpowered. We got a super chat from Deez McNeese.
Savage.
He said Zoro and Sanji working together for the Groggy Ring ball game. Honestly, Deez McNeese, that's on my list. That was on my list. I was definitely was going to bring that up at some point in here, but you definitely moved it up here. Like the groggy ring in the first place is so underrated because it's the first time that Zoro and Sanji are really forced to work together, right? Their rivalry has already been set up all the way since, Little Garden, and here you have it, Zoro forcing Sanji to be the ball, them, trying to just work together, but then the Arm de l'air power shoot that they use to finally take it down, and just the panel in the manga of them bringing the last guy, Big Bun, down into the ring. I love it. I mean, Davy Backfight in general is underrated, right? Because most people probably know it from the anime and hate it. But when you read it in the manga, it's way better. Let's see. Gia Studio said to add to the groggy ring, Zoro with the no sword style. Yeah, when he did the Tatsumaki no sword style, whoo, man. Let's see. Error. Let me know if I'm still with you guys. Yeah, that's a great moment. And definitely underrated. Definitely underrated. I mean, I see the panel used as a meme from time to time, but not enough people talk about it just being great. Alright. Heading back to my list here. One of my favorite moments, a small moment, is the end of Arlong Park, right? When we see Genzo doesn't have his pinwheel anymore, and then it cuts to Belmir's grave, and the pinwheel is sitting there with a tangerine, symbolizing her tattoo, and just really encapsulating all of the themes in the arc. And you just, even in the anime, you see the pinwheel spinning and all of that, but it's also great in the manga. I just love that. Great symbolism. Another underrated symbolism from the same arc would be the desk flying out of Arlong Park. Luffy kicking the desk out. I don't see people, really talk about that enough, but that's the symbol of Nami's pain being, tossed out. And the reaction on Nami right afterwards when she realizes exactly what Luffy's doing for her. Whew. Underrated. Some super chats here. Brandon King, thank you.
Savage.
Mine is Brooks' death is not an excuse or an apology. Moment from Fishman Island. You can tell this is how serious he is about his promise to Laboon. Very underrated for sure. Definitely. Man, I can't wait for that reunion. I think it'll be crazy too if Laboon still has the paint on him. I feel like that would wash off in the water. But yeah, that's great. And then we had another super chat from Masujo G.
Savage.
It was just a sticker. But I appreciate it. Let's see. Vedant said Sanji's bingo after arriving at the sea train. Love that moment. It's actually a I have that as a emoji on the Discord, and it's called bingo. Like you have to type bingo to activate it. ABCXYZ, Vivi leaking the identities of the Straw Hats. That's actually on my list. In Whiskey Peak, when they're all having a conversation and she's trying not to, give them too much information, but then she you know, tells them that that Crocodile is the boss and that he's one of the warlords, and then the Unluckies show up and do the drawings of everybody. Oh man. Yeah. Victor Fritzen said Yokozuna trying to stop the sea train. Yeah, I'll give you that. That's definitely underrated. We talked about Yokozuna in one of the past streams. Can't remember why, though. All right. Heading back to my list here. A couple other things from Arlong Park. When Zoro catches Johnny and Yosaku's swords midair for the no, it wasn't the Tatsumaki, it was the Toronagashi, right? Anyway, like when he attacks Hachin, but he like catches both of the swords at the same time. That was this is an awesome moment. This is a great moment. Nami stabbing herself to save Usopp, and then having the glove on, which is like a subtle foreshadowing that she didn't actually kill him. Great moments, great moments. Arlong seeing Zoro's scar. Yeah, good one. That's a good one. Marcos said Frankie versus Nero is an underrated fight. It's hilarious. Yeah, super underrated. Like until you mentioned it, like it was not on my list, and I forgot about it. But yeah, like him doing Frankie Kintaros, and all of that, man. Nero, just to begin with, was such a... Well, I guess like everybody on the C train that wasn't really CP9 was just washed right there and never really returned, except for Wanze. You know, he's been popping up in ads recently, and I think he was he had a little cameo in Film Gold. I think he was sitting at a restaurant. Maybe I'm wrong. I know Absalom was. Speaking of Wanze, something Reese pointed out in one of the recent streams was if you go back to the Wanze fight, there's a moment where when Wanze lights his skates on fire, you see a ... panel of Sanji looking at that, and you can basically look at that as like that being the inspiration or like the light bulb moment for Sanji to learn Diable Jambe. My guy Ryo.
Savage.
Zoro's speech to Chopper, Long Ring Long Land. In the world of pirates, no one's going to empathize with those tears. You did your best. You did your best, now be a man and watch. Super underrated, yeah. It was great. It was great. Zoro's got a lot of those moments, you know, where he's just the epitome of just Chad energy, right? You know, when he really like steps into that thing and he just like reminds everybody what being a pirate really is. I love all of those moments. Some of them are highly regarded rather than underrated, you know, like him standing up to Luffy about you know, willy-nilly bringing Usopp back into the crew. I'd consider that highly regarded rather than underrated. But that one, definitely an underrated moment, you know. He does it again in Punk Hazard, when he's like, hey, what did we train for, you know. This is the new world now, stop, you know, stop messing around, Luffy. Yeah. Loggy Doggy said Chopper protecting the Mary and Skypiea, definitely underrated. We had the, you know, and that whole interaction between him and Shura. It's underrated because it's like that's the moment when everything's sort of like, starting to really sink in for Chopper. Like, wow, being a pirate is kind of tough, and I can die. We got a super chat from Masujo G.
Savage.
The scene with Tashigi and Smoker at the end of Alabasta was great, not only for characterization, but foreshadowing future themes of will and justice. Yeah, that's a great one. When she starts walking onto the ship, and she has her tears, and the conversation that Smoker and Tashiki have about all of that. And even, a more underrated moment, I mean, they're equally underrated, is when Smoker leaves Alabasta and he leaves Tashiki in charge of everything and to follow her own justice. And then he heads off on his badass bike. Yeah. A lot of the Tashigi stuff in Alabasta is underrated. I mean, like, even her, stopping the Marines from pursuing the Straw Hats, which also parallels Fujitora later on in Dressrosa. Her interaction with Robin, that little fight, and the moment where Robin, like, flips her sword onto her, like, pressed against her neck. Wow. Savage. Yeah. Atomic Ambition said the Fisher Tiger backstory. Yeah, I don't see a lot of people talk about that enough. I have some things from that on my list, including Arlong versus Kizaru. Like, can we just remember that happened? Oh, man. Deez McNeese said Ace versus Smoker. Yeah, a lot of stuff with Ace would be highly regarded, but that's definitely an underrated moment. Loggy Doggy's got to go. See you later, my man. Jen said Chrissy's least favorite backstory. Which one's that? Chin said Croc saving Ace. Yeah. Definitely. A lot of the stuff that Croc did in Marineford is like teetering the highly regarded moment, but then I also feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. But, yeah. Him saving Ace, him saving Luffy. Triple Threevil. What's up, man? Let me take a look at my list here. I have a bunch of stuff from Little Garden, which is definitely an underrated arc, right? The Zoro pose, right? Come on, I mean, how funny was that? Like, everything's going on, and I think that's Zoro's funniest moment in the entire series, is that he wanted to, if he was going to become a wax statue, he wants to, create a pose. And then, an underrated moment of Little Garden is really just Usopp being the MVP. Because if you really take a moment to think about it, like, if Usopp wasn't there and he didn't do what he did, a lot of them, like, Zoro, Nami, and Vivi would be dead. And Luffy was colors trapped, and Sanji was, playing house with Croc. So it's like, Usopp was the MVP of Little Garden. Sanji also, in a sense, because it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up because Sanji did get the Eternal Pose, which is the only reason they were able to not spend a year there. So can't disregard that. The moment when he's playing House with Crocodile is one of my favorite moments in the entire series. Like, all of the Mr. Prince stuff, but that's all highly regarded stuff. But just Usopp being responsible for Nami, Zoro, and Vivi being alive. Yeah. Gotta talk about that. My guy Dan DeCarlo said Mr. 3 is always underrated. That is a true fact. We got a super chat here from Helen Nabi. Thank you.
Savage.
Underrated and funny moment when Enel realizes that lightning doesn't affect rubber. Let KOF do that face. He is the Enel of the OP community. I mean, it's a great moment. It's definitely an amazing moment. It's teetering the line of highly regarded because it's such a meme. You go on any Discord, you go on any forum or whatever, that Enel face that he makes is going to be an emoji, right? And it generated, Perona face, sugar face, so many, like, Enel face, right? Faces have come out of the series, but no one talks about it for the meaning behind it. Certainly, that's the underrated aspect of it, right? The highly regarded aspect of it is just that Oda drew something funny. But let's talk about why it's underrated, right? And that's because here, up until that moment, nothing has phased Enel, right? He's been this unstoppable force, and anybody reading this knows and understands the properties of rubber is just waiting for this moment to happen, right? That lightning shouldn't work on Luffy, right? And he has just been washing everybody left and right. And here Luffy tanks El Thor, and he makes that face. It's cathartic. It's amazing. It's a beautiful moment. Let's think about other underrated moments in Skypiea. We already talked about the goat song. Someone brought that up. We talked about Chopper protecting Mary. One of my favorite moments is just when they find the other half of Cricket's house. It's one of the best twists in the series, in my opinion. It's just awesome. Wiper killing Enel. Not talked about enough. That rejectile that stopped his heart, and then subsequently Enel restarting his heart. Amazing. And the reason why that's underrated is because when they made Episode of Skypiea, they didn't even include that part. And it's like one of the most badass parts of the entire arc. So that's great. Wiper in general is underrated. We got a super chat here. Water Lemonish.
Savage.
Punk Hazard again. G5 Marines masking their pain from Virgo's betrayal by making fun of the Straw Hats. There's a lot of emotions in that whole scene. Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one. I mean, anything really with those G5 Marine guys would be underrated. But yeah, that's... They really loved that guy. I'm with you on that one. Lucy B.
Savage.
Baratier. Luffy says to Sanji that Sanji has to live because Sanji can't repay his debt to Zeph by dying. Because that's not why Zeph saved Sanji. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great moment. it's a moment that like clicks for Sanji also. That's what really makes it so great, right? Pretty much anything with Gin I would consider underrated. The Sanji versus Gin fight. The talk between Zeph and Sanji about Luffy's conviction. When he's like chasing after Krieg. I love that conversation. It's so good. Don Quixote D Joker. Yeah, we like Sanji over here. We can put Sanji and great in the same sentence. Let's see. Reese said, great moment, Lucy B. I'd say that the moment where Sanji smiles while talking about the all blue is also a very underrated moment. Yeah. It's the first moment we see Sanji's shell crack, It's great. Kagemusha. Sanji saying Luffy is the man that'll become the Pirate King to Beige was underrated. Yeah, like out of all of the like Luffy will become the Pirate King moments that the crew has had, Sanji's probably is the most underrated one, and the least talked about. Yeah, definitely give you that. Let's see. Something that's underrated, Buggy surviving attacks from every single Marine Admiral. If you go back, he did. He got attacked by Aokiji, Akainu, and Kizaru. He's a highly regarded character. He's a GOAT. But people forget why he's a GOAT sometimes. Chin said Chrissy's least favorite backstory, the Nolan flashback. Yep. Yeah, that is... and the Nolan flashback in general is underrated for sure. The moment when, they actually understand why it was necessary to cut down their, like, ancestor trees. Yeah. It's so good. Alright. Taking a look at my, my list here. Robin and Aokiji's talk during Post Eddie's lobby. Where they're like each on the opposite sides of that wall. It was just a great cap to that arc, right? D's McNeese, Sanji almost breaking Blue Nose Tech Kai. Yeah, I love that moment when he's on the sea train and he like does that spinning, essentially the concassere, but he's like doing it on the ground and he's like he's bracing himself and he hits him, man. Whoo! Oh, what a great moment! What a great moment! We had a super chat from Panicked Pikachu. Dan beating up Garp post Marineford always makes me tear up. Yeah, that's a great moment. Definitely underrated. I don't see it get talked about enough. Man, yeah. I know Chrissy definitely had a reaction to that when we got to that point during our watch. a lot of people really didn't understand Garp, didn't understand what was going on with him. Everybody was trying to figure out what his deal was when we were reading weekly. And you get to that moment, and then you really start to see that, there were wheels turning, and that not that it ever appeared like it was easy for Garp to sit up there with Ace. But that's at least the moment that made me think there's got to be something bigger to this. He's got to have some sort of plan or something going on. Andres Sanchez, when Dalton says to Wapple that no medicine can cure stupidity. I like that one. That's a good one, yeah. Also from Drum, Liquid Thoughts said, the hiking bear moments. That's on my list. I love that gag. I love that. They see the hiking bear, then they see the woman, and they bow to the woman like she's a hiking bear. Oh God, that's peak fiction right there. Highly regarded moment for Mr. 2 would be saving everybody at Impel Down, but an underrated Mr. 2 moment would be saving them in Alabasta from Hina. I don't see that get talked about enough. Him sailing away, pretending to be Luffy, his speech right there to Hina. So good. Nope said the crocus gag. Yep. That's definitely a great moment. Nerd culture. Ace learning manners from Makino while Luffy's being a goof. Always makes me laugh. Yeah, that's definitely underrated. Not a lot of people are talking about that. Kagemusha, what about moments in Thriller Bark, Randy? The moment when Sindri starts to, it's like there's like a crack in the shell, and you almost think that like she's having memories from her past life almost. Starts to tear up, I believe. That's kind of wild. The little team up that Chopper and Robin do. Like Chopper versus Hogback and all of that is pretty underrated. The moment between Brook and Zoro at the end of the arc at Ryuma's grave, or like what they're making, like a grave, and that sort of like bonding bro moment that they have, super underrated. Really like that. And it was definitely like Oda, making the rounds with Brook and making sure that, he was having moments with everybody. But that was like a really endearing moment with Zoro as he was still healing up. Got a super chat here from Michael Ormsby.
Savage.
Hey Randy, recently found your channel. Amazing stuff, man. I'd have to say Binks' Bruce song when Brook officially joins. Probably highly regarded. And the all blue salt conversation in Water 7. So when Brook officially joins and they start playing Binks Sake, it's definitely teetering the line of highly regarded, because it's like the moment that Brook joins. But it's definitely not, if you're comparing it to Nothing Happened, it's underrated. And highly regarded would be Brook's flashback and Binks Sake playing during that. But just the party where he's joining, and like Luffy hanging down on the piano and all of that next to him and all that stuff, that's definitely underrated. Like that's like fun party moments and all that. That's definitely great. And then as far as the all blue salt conversation in Water 7, I might actually need to be reminded about that. I'm trying to think about someone in the chat give me some more details on that so I can talk about that, because I gotta remember that. Let's see. Jean Salazar, Sanji's speech to Usopp in Eni's lobby. Yeah, the whole you do what I can't do and I'll do what you can't do speech. You know, it's definitely been brought up a lot lately, and especially for 1005. You know, I was talking about it a lot. I was talking about it a lot in reference to again, a lot of notifications here, guys. Sorry. I was talking about it a lot in reference to, you know, what was happening in 1005, and, you know, the community was talking about it as well. So, you know, it's becoming now, I think, a highly regarded moment. But prior to that, no one was really talking about that scene. But it is. And, and it's more impactful in the anime. In the manga, you know, it's sort of a throwaway panel almost. And I don't mean like throwaway as in like bad, but it's like, it's not on it's not on anyone's face, right? It's not on Sanji's face, it's not on Usopp's face. It's this faraway shot of Sanji like standing by himself, and like, you know, you're kind of from Usopp's POV, you know, his perspective and all of that almost. But I think in the anime they do some close-ups there also. AJ1218, all blue salt is filler. That's that episode that focused on Sanji during the during post Eni's lobby. Okay, yeah. I can't talk. I can't talk about that enough because I watched that weekly, probably in like 2006, 2007, whenever that aired. Actually, it probably would be closer to 2008. Maybe it was 2007. And I have not seen it since. So I'd love to be able to talk about it. But, yeah. I mean, as far as filler moments go, sure, definitely underrated. Sanji, all blue Vinsmoke said, most underrated moment is me always missing Randy Troy's live stream, but a highly regarded moment is you making this one.
Savage.
Enter a name. Lucky Roo shooting the bandit in episode 4. It was the first holy moment for me and set the tone for this series gets real. Yeah. Yeah. See, I like on One Piece how that's actually episode 1, the way it's supposed to be, because that's chapter 1. But, yeah. You know, you don't know what the tone of the series is, really, until Lucky Roo shoots that guy. And then the tone sort of shifts and doesn't necessarily return to that for quite some time, I think. But, you know, even Shanks' speech right there, I love, where he says, you know, something to the effect of, you shouldn't point a gun isn't a tool to threaten somebody with. If you're pointing a gun, you better use it. And it's just good moments. Let's see. Reset, I think that the blood transfusion scene at the end of Fishman Island isn't talked about enough. I put it in the same ballpark as some of the most highly regarded moments, the symbolism in the narrator's speech. Yeah, I mean, that's what Oda was setting up for that entire arc. Yeah. It's a good moment. I'd say it's underrated for sure, because it's just in an underrated arc, Fishman Island, which most people would put at the bottom of their arc tier list, and even I would myself. But that's great. Rain Man said, "Has Shushu been mentioned yet?" First thing I mentioned. It was how I led the stream. It was the basis of what I said would be an exemplary example of an underrated moment. Ominous Chris finally made a live video. Welcome. Alright. Heading back to my list here. The Spider's Cafe scene. Underrated. I love the interaction between Mr. One and Bon Clay. And we get that subtle tease of Mr. One's powers. We see Miss Doublefinger sort of in like everyday clothes. Everybody meets up before they, travel to Rain Base and have their conversation with Crocodile. Yeah. Jeeker said, "This is not a big one, but if you remember, Haguma slashed the table in Makino's bar, and you can see the mark the slash left in chapter 956. So I wouldn't say that that's an underrated thing, but that's just a cool detail in the series." Kirby said, "Kuma protecting the Sunny for 2 years." Yep, definitely. Inazuma No said, "The OG Straw Hats from East Blue promising their dreams before going to the Grand Line." Honestly, I'd say that that's teetering as highly regarded. I mean, I guess it doesn't get talked enough, but it's something that gets flashbacked to a lot. And I mean, it's like, it's the, if you ever watch episode of East Blue, which, is only good if you've already read or watched everything from it, but it basically uses that scene as its like catapult for everything that's going on, in the barrels. Each time they put a foot on the barrel, that's, their section of the story. Let's see. This is just something funny from the anime, that doesn't necessarily like translate in the manga, right? But right before they get to Drum Island, after Wapple, comes onto the ship and, bites everything, and sees and like kind of recognizes Princess Vivi. And Luffy shoots Wapol off the ship. All the guys go, and Kuromarimo, right? He just starts yelling at them in like super broken English, and he's just like, "Please remember us! Please remember us!" And I just love that moment, and I think it's underrated because it doesn't. It means nothing, and everybody on the crew is just like, okay. No. I hope we never see you again. Chopper Gamer said, I just jumped in and have you mentioned the God Usopp moment? I feel like no one is talking about it anymore. God Usopp, I mean, that's definitely teetering on the highly regarded moment. But, yeah, I mean, definitely no one's talking about it much anymore. But just the idea that everybody down there misinterpreted what Usopp said to turn him into this deity, and then for it to end up on his bounty. Incredible. And I just love that shot of his face all broken, Hajradin holding him up. Oh, excellent. We got some super chats here. Keyboard Cat, thank you.
Savage.
Enel's Moon Adventure. Also, there is an SBS where Oda said that a fungus grew on Django's face, and after he ate it, he could hypnotize people. Yeah, so that's led a lot of people to believe that a devil fruit grew on Django's face. But I still think that I don't think it's a devil fruit. Enel's Moon Adventure, definitely underrated. Doesn't get, I mean, like, YouTubers and, like, people that analyze or theorize or want to get caught up in the moon and stuff like that, it's definitely highly regarded. But for a casual person, casual reader or whatever, they probably forgot that Enel even had a cover story. And for that matter, I'd say every cover story is underrated. But that one the most, because it told us a lot without really telling us anything at all. So it's one of those things that until we get more information about the moon and everything that happened there, we're not going to be able to look at all of it as foreshadowing or anything like that until that happens. So, yeah, highly underrated. And then a super chat from Dizza the Ghost.
Savage.
4 quick ones. Ace goes to see Shanks. Definitely. And I love how the anime made it seem like Shanks had both of his arms during that time. They dropped the ball there. And speaking about having both of your arms, fun fact, there was I can't remember if it was an Impel Down or if it was in the cover story with Baroque Works, but there was a time where Oda accidentally drew Crocodile with 2 hands, and it was corrected by the time the volume came out. Zoro saying that he doesn't believe in God. Okay, all right, yeah. Mary in the green room. Mary in the green room. Yeah, that's definitely underrated. It should be highly regarded, but it's underrated. It shows that Jinbei is the helmsman that the Straw Hats need, right? Like, everybody's the best at what they do. Chopper's going to be the best doctor. Zoro's going to be the best swordsman. Sanji probably is already the best cook. Nami may already be the best navigator. Frankie built the ship that's going to, go all the way to the Grand Line. So Oda needed a massive feat to show that Jinbei is worthy of being the helmsman of the Straw Hat Pirates. And the Merry, well, not the Merry, it should be the Sunny in the Green Room. Yeah, so the Sunny in the Green Room is, it's a great moment. And page 1 notices Luffy is the Alliance's leader. They're coming for me as usual. Yeah, all great ones. All great ones. Dale Villarin said Sanji's the hunter line to Jabra. I'd say that as far as Sanji moments go, highly regarded. But in the big scheme of things, yeah, I can see how that's underrated. I mean, it's a great Sanji moment. And he needed it after the Khalifa loss. You know, he came back, proved his worth. Kagemusha Sanji meeting Duval for the first time. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the stuff there with all of the Flying Fish Riders and all of that. Hatchin coming back. I love, you know, just the idea that Sabaody Park, you know, Shabandi Park was, you know, basically the design of Arlong Park. You know, and that was, you know, I mean, that goes towards foreshadowing and all of that, but it's just an underrated moment as well. A lot of great stuff. Ooh, here we go. This is a good one. Anton Erickson, Jinbei, Crocodile, Mr. One, and Buggy hijacking the Marine ship. Yeah, and just like them flying, you know, on the door of Impel Down, and Buggy standing there like he belongs, and just pretending to be a part of all of it, while Crocodile, and Mr. One, and Jinbei are all doing like all of this work, giving them the business. That's great. Piccolo from Namek.
Savage.
When Ace and Roger said they won't die, it made me realize the importance of Hiriluk's speech. That's good. Yeah. So we talked about this at the very beginning, that the Hiriluk's speech is like the definition of highly regarded, right? So, but Roger, you know, saying I'm not going to die, partner to Rayleigh. You know, it's just a good point, because he's not going to be forgotten. He started the Great Pirate Era. So, yeah. And then same for Ace. He's not going to die because he lives on through Luffy, and Yamato, and Tama, and all of the Whitebeard pirates. Kagemusha said, to this day, Afro Luffy is still Luffy's strongest form. I'm inclined to agree. You know, if he brought the Afro back, he may not have had as much of a tough time with Katakuri. And he really should bring it back right now. Ahmed said the scene in Water 7 where Nami screams at Luffy when he's stuck in between the building. Yeah, and that's even great in the anime too, because like you really feel the tension and everything. Like everything is hitting, you know, this peak. The Agua Laguna is going to hit. Robin is getting on this train. They just lost to Lucci, and Luffy and Zoro are like stuck in a building in a chimney. And Nami's like, come on. And then, you know, he breaks the building, and it's a good moment. I don't know how you couldn't like Nami, though. She's great. Bozo D. Shanks, Bonnie saves Zoro and Sabaody. Yeah. That's great. I love that moment. And Zoro almost takes out... See, now, the highly regarded moment would be Luffy punching Charlos, right? People talk about that all the time. But you don't have that hit without Zoro almost killing Charlos, right? Bonnie saving him. Setup, payoff. So that's great. Heading back to my list. A recent one would be Robin versus the Oniwabanshu, right? And like trying to find the poneglyph, and then the Oniwabanshu show up, and they attack her, but it was a clone the whole time. I just enjoyed Robin, finally, getting some shine in that moment, doing some stealthy stuff, and Secret Agent Nico Robin. It was a lot of fun. AJ1218, dude, the walk to Frankie House. I forgot about that. Only time Chopper looked badass. I do love that moment. Highly regarded moment would be the walk to Arlong Park, but a lot of people don't talk about Frankie House enough. And even them, kicking ass in Frankie House, right? Going in and taking everybody out. What a great moment. It's beautiful. So much happened in Water 7 and Enies Lobby that people just forget about that. Especially when you consider that Frankie turned out to be a good guy, but, and that Zombai and the rest of those guys actually ended up helping them. But, man, if it wasn't satisfying seeing all of that. And then Luffy saying, like, that he's going to break every single one of their bones in there. Oh, man. Like, that moment gets a...
Savage.
Yeah. Reset, overtaken, starts playing. This guy Ahmed said, I don't care for the walk to Frankie family because I detest Usopp. So I like Frankie underlings for beating his ass. And he just said he didn't like Nami. He doesn't like Usopp. Who do you like? Do you like One Piece? Aaron said Luffy imitating all crews. Yeah, and just all of Luffy's impressions. Sanji, in Alabasta. All of them. Galaxy said, I have a feeling Momo at Onigashima is going to be underrated when he's captured. Probably. We'll see how the anime does it. Because if the anime does it a lot, justice and all of that, then it could become highly regarded. Chris Saltos, when Barto threw the fake bomb at the Coliseum crowd and exposed how selfish those people were because they ran away without helping each other. Then he said, I don't even want the crowd to like me.
Savage.
That's a great underrated moment. Chin said Usopp's impressions of Robin and Croc. Yeah, Usopp's a good impressionist too. When he made his eyes look like Robin's eyes. So for my list, Zoro, an underrated Zoro moment that I don't see talking about enough is him testing his luck in Logetown with the swords. Just It was great. That whole sword shop scene with him and Tashi, it's underrated. Love it. Underrated Vivi moment when she shows up to Rain Base, right? And no smoke, like just all the smoke. Doesn't even wait. Just runs up on Crocodile, cuts his head off. It's
Savage.
like one of the best Vivi moments. Definitely highly underrated moment. Like she just takes her peacock slashers out, cuts this man's head off. But of course he's Sand, so he goes back together. But like she went straight for the jugular, right for his neck. Cut it right off. That was the day that you couldn't take her card away after that. She was certified. She ran up on him. You've ruined my country. Boom. Your head's coming off. Ahmed, you don't even like Vivi? Man, come on, man. We love Vivi over here. And we love Nami, and we love Usopp. I mean, glad you like Crocodile. That's one of my goats too, but we ain't doing no Vivi hate. No. Rain Man. They don't make heroines like Vivi anymore. Yeah. R said Vivi's the 10th Straw Hat. She's actually the 6th. Or the 5.5. Chin said, don't forget Karu's sacrifice for Vivi. Highly underrated. Very good. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. The Don Quixote D Joker. Vivi is goated. Alright. My man. You tend to say some controversial stuff from time to time, but that's good on you. You know the deal. The speech that Luffy gives Vivi, right before the whole punch and all of that stuff and all that about death, and that's a great moment. I don't necessarily approve of the fight that they had, but but it's definitely a good moment. Ray Kaminari. I know a lot of people like Barto, but I like Cavendish equally. He's an underrated character in my opinion. Remember when he stays with Law and says, if you're going to die here, it won't be before me? Now that's underrated, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it wasn't on my list, but I do love that moment. When he stays to protect Law. That's a good one. Thanks for bringing that one up. Ugh. Vivi for life indeed. Yes. She did need the reality check. But, you know. Let's see. What else is on my list? Parasparrow's speech to Judge about the cries of a lamb before it goes to the slaughter. Parasparrow is always spitting, you know? And his I might as well go and say, you know, the chewing grass line too, because I don't think it gets talked about enough. But yeah, that's a great moment. Sanji saving his family afterwards in the panel of him standing on the table after he like melted all the candy, looking down on his family. Underrated. And you know why it's underrated? Because it hits so much more in the manga. The anime did not do that moment justice at all. They really should have, like, for all of the times that the anime like pace things so inappropriately and like held on things, they sped past the moment where like Sanji like really gets his due justice on his family. That moment sucked in the anime, but in the manga it was so impressive. It was drawn so well, him looking down on his family, everything. Anime did that part dirty. Schnaz-chan compones anyone can change the future. Yeah. Or him coldly shooting Pecoms in the back, and so... Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like that part of him shooting Pecoms, but... him saying anyone can change the future? Yeah, that's a great moment. Bozo D. Shanks, Parasparrow's a goat. He doesn't deserve the hate. All facts. Jesus, Robin, and Aokiji talk after Eni's lobby. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Nerd culture, when Vivi slaps Usopp to consciousness in drum, and Zoro wakes up from the snow like a zombie. Yeah, and then Usopp's got all those bumps on his face. It's peak fiction. Peak comedy. Huero suero. Yeah, you're right, Reese. Riz says, Chiffon's speech to Beige. Yeah. And you know who would also say that too is Chrissy. Because Chiffon is like low-key one of Chrissy's favorite characters. And Desmond H. Capone's words to Pez after shooting Oven in the face. Yeah, you know, throw it all in there. But yeah, Chrissy just loved how, she just loved Chiffon's conviction, and I agree. Chiffon was actually a really well-written character that does not get talked about enough. Underrated. Usopp Golden Pound, underrated. Yeah. You know, honestly, just like a lot of the stuff where he fought Perona to begin with, I feel doesn't get talked about enough. It's one of the best fights in the series. It's amazing. Sanji opening the gates of justice. You know, actually allowing them to escape the Buster Call, underrated. AJ1218 said, Buggy versus Mihawk. One of the greatest fights in One Piece. Right under Whitebeard versus Roger. Yeah, that's true. But how can the greatest fight in One Piece be underrated? I think it has to be highly regarded. Reese said, Nami slapping Sanji while saying Sanji instead of the usual Sanji-kun is a very underrated moment. Everybody talks about the fight and the interaction between Sanji and Luffy and forget Nami. Yeah, when she just walks up cold and just goes, man. Talk about ruthless. Yeah. Yeah. Alexander Rios. Underrated moment when Enel zapped Wiper's girl outside the first birdcage in Skypiea. Made me cry. Enel was ruthless. Hashtag Skypiea goated. Yeah. Rocky should have died. Rocky, Locky, whatever translation you go by. That really would have hit if she died. It's an underrated moment because I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, damn, she's dead. That's crazy. That's wild. Then she wasn't dead. An underrated moment in the anime in Skypiea, not so much in the manga, but in the anime when like Sanji has this love cook radar for Nami on the Arc Maxim. I never hear anyone talking about that, but that's a great moment. When you learn why it's like so cold in Drum Castle, and it's because they don't want to shut the door because there's like some birds that are living on the door. It's underrated. Princess Odahime as a character is definitely underrated, you know, in the Jinbei flashback and all of that. She was great. She's like one of the best parts of the Fishman Island arc. Her trying to get everything set up for the reverie and all of that, like her plight, her struggle, so many moments. I talk about it a lot, but just Bellamy's character growth is underrated. People hate on Bellamy, but he's a goat. You know? He started one way, you hate him, transitions into a likable character by the end. It's like, that's that arc. Amazing. You know, when he runs into Luffy and he basically just tells him like, hey, I'm not mad at you. I'm not like, I'm over it. I've grown. I'm gonna be the bigger man here. So, and when he just like when he's the only person that recognizes him as in his like Lucy gear, he's like, you think I can't tell, who's under that? It's awesome. Hazard and Gibson, did you mention when Luffy bowed to Boa choosing to save Marguerite over getting a boat to return to his crew. Yeah, someone brought that up earlier, and we did talk about that for a little bit. Let's see. Chin, the bird in Jaya took down all the Straw Hats except Robin. Yeah, that's an underrated moment in Jaya. I love that arc. But when they're trying to get the South Bird and Robin just catches it like that, it's awesome. That's great. Reese said, I said this before, but Odahime's "Put Your Guns Away, the Children Are Watching" is one of my ultimate favorite underrated moments. In an arc about education and racism, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I love Odahime. So does Chrissy. Miles Long, I think Caesar's disguise was hilarious. Yeah. Gangster Gastino. Nine 16 Mocha sacrifice is so sad. I'm surprised that someone else brought up the Mocha sacrifice. Like Reese brought it up, but I definitely didn't think anybody was gonna bring that up again. He also said Kinemon impersonating Dofi is so funny. Yeah. Kagemusha said it too. Kin is Dofi. And then Gladius, like, it was Gladius, right, that like actually believed it. Oh, another person said Mocha sacrifice. Cecilia. Wow. Lucy B, Rebecca, and Kobe fangirling about Luffy. Yep, chapter 903. Love that. That's an endgame ship right there. Nerd culture, Gin's loyalty, highly underrated. Gin in general. Let's see. Jinbei standing up to Big Mom saying, well, you know what he said. I would consider that a highly regarded moment, to be honest. Vedant says Who's Who is actually Gin. Who's Who is 38 years old. He's not Gin. But sure wish he was. That'd be great. We still need Gin to return. Ryo said Tashigi and Nami's conversation on what to do with the kids, and Nami referencing Belmir. I just can't resist the eyes of a female Marine. Yeah, it's a good moment. I like that. Piccolo from Namek. Chopper blows the whistle. Yeah, we talked about that. Him saving, trying to protect the Mary from Shura and all that. Yep. Ominous Chris, Kuros, and Rebecca sitting down looking at her mom's grave after beating Diamante. Kuros hiding his face, his tears. Yeah. Kuros was low-key the main character of Dressrosa. Like, or you could say that there were really two stories going on. Luffy and Law, and then Kuros and Rebecca. And it was almost as if, like, Oda was writing a whole different manga for a second with just different characters, but tied it into one piece. And I really love Kuros. He was an awesome leading man, an awesome protagonist. Brandon Arnold, Randy, big fan, man, great knowledge. Appreciate it, man. Thanks. Tofifi, Mr. 2 yelling at the door. Yeah, I guess in comparison to Mr. 2 saving them from Impel Down, that would be the underrated moment, sure. And it's great. Love that. People don't talk about Kuros enough. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of Kuros love in the chat, but yeah, he's goated. Hold up, does Don Quixote D. Joker not like Kuros? He's been in the chat the whole time saying that Dressrosa is peak fiction, but you don't like Kuros? Clear this up for me. Yeah, Kuros is goated. Ahmed said, Crocodile shouting to Whitebeard, I don't remember being defeated by someone so weak. Yeah, that's a good moment. Definitely underrated. Alexander Rios said Law backstory underrated. I would say that Law's backstory is highly regarded. People love Corazon and love that backstory. I'm sure there are underrated moments in the backstory that you could find, like the fact that Drake is in the backstory, the relationship between Corazon and Sengoku, I love when Corazon fires a rocket launcher just and makes it silent, just like as he's trying to cheer Law up. We got to find the moments. Like, you can't just say a whole flashback is especially one like that. Like the Nolan and Calgara flashback is underrated. Law's flashback as a whole is highly regarded, I would say. You got to find the moments. Chin, Baby 5 backstory. Yeah, that's depressing. Definitely underrated. I don't see a lot of people talking about that. Super chat from my guy Ryo.
Savage.
Since his birthday is around the corner, what's your favorite underrated Luffy moments? Yeah, that's right. His birthday is in 5 days, May 5th. Underrated Luffy moments. Well, we talked about him climbing Drum. Him versus Mr. 3. I really like that fight. You know, the Candle Champion, how he fights it, the instinct moment. Him choosing to save Smoker in Alabasta. We talked about Chrissy's favorite Luffy moment, which is underrated, which is, you know, the Aokiji joke at the beginning of Water 7 when he takes the bag of sugar and pretends he's frozen again, reliving this traumatic moment where he almost died. Probably highly regarded, but just because I thought of it, Luffy yelling at Usopp, saying that if he knows what the One Piece is, he'll just stop being a pirate. And Sabaody. That's Shaki's bar. More specific Luffy moments. We talked about the moment in Amazon Lily when he chooses to save Marguerite. And Dressrosa when he puts on way too much stuff and goes over the weight limit. Just another funny underrated moment. When he shouts and cheers Bellamy on and during the Coliseum, you know, it just shows Luffy's character. You know, like, here's this guy that, you know, he fought with, that he has no reason to cheer, but, you know, that's just a testament of Luffy's character and how he can actually perceive and see the growth and feel intuitively the growth within Bellamy to begin with. You know, because he's an empath that way. So, you know, Luffy cheering on Bellamy is almost in itself a revelation of Bellamy's character growth, based on what we know of Luffy's power to understand people's emotions and all of that. Yeah, those are all the ones I can think of. Right? Oh, Afro Luffy. Definitely underrated as well. Let's see. Yori said, "Where are you going?" The sky. That's an underrated moment for sure, and another one, and one of my favorite Luffy moments. You know, I mean, I love Luffy versus Bellamy, but you know, as far as the underrated aspect of that is the question afterwards. You know, and he just says, "Sora." That's a good one. Oh, no. My absolute favorite underrated Luffy moment is when he stops Wapol from shooting Heroic's flag. That's it. That's it. All the other ones that I said are secondary and below to that. That's my favorite underrated Luffy moment. When he's standing up there, he still is Nami's. You know, I mean, this moment right here. Love that. Because it ties into the conversation that Hirlik has with Chopper about putting conviction behind one's flag. And of course, you know, that's the reason why I named my production company Conviction. That's why the flag says Conviction at the beginning of the videos. All of that. So, yes, that's my top moment. Ray Kaminari said Luffy saying Santoryu and Yantoryu as an insult to Luffy was hilarious. Yes, that was great. Also, when he says to Crocodile, you know, Crocodile says, "Do you think you can fight me? You know, I'm one of the Shichibukai." And then he says, "Well, then I'm the Hachibukai. I'm the 8th warlord of the sea." It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Ominous Chris, thank you for the super chat.
Savage.
They said Smoker for Straw Hat. I know that Mr. Morge has, you know, that whole thing. I mean, that's not really what this stream is about. But I don't think that Smoker is going to become a Straw Hat. I could see him, you know, he's definitely going to team up with the Straw Hats for the final war and all that. He may even ride on the ship, you know, or at some point. But he's not going to be a Straw Hat. He's going to be like the equivalent of Kinemon at any point. Whereas, like, you know, Vivi is a Straw Hat, but Kinemon is not a Straw Hat. That's the most I could see Smoker getting in the series. Too many moments, yep. Let's see. Too many notifications. Luffy getting Rebecca to see Kuros again. I'd call that underrated. Don Quixote D. Joker, Luffy's the GOAT, but I will forever despise Bellamy. Nah, bro. I mean, you get points for calling Vivi a GOAT, but you're losing some points for saying that, man. You gotta understand that Bellamy is, like, one of the best written characters in the series. So, yeah. That character growth. Chef's kiss. Lucy B said, like, now Luffy is the 5th Yonko. Yeah, I've talked about that before because I recently talked about the Hachibukai moment in reference to the fact that Luffy is now the Goko, really, instead of Yako. Yeah, that's great. Let's see. Chen said Sanji saving Kinemon. Yeah, because technically that started all of this, right? If he didn't save Kinemon, they wouldn't really know about all of the stuff that's going on in Wano. I mean, they still would have gone after Kaido because of law, but they wouldn't have had the impetus with Momo and Kinemon. Don Quixote D. Joker, Tama will also not be a Straw Hat. All right, man. It just, at me when the arc's over, bro. Because it's happening. She's going to be the apprentice. Get used to it. Get used to it. And I'm telling you right now, even if she doesn't join right now, which she will, she'll be the apprentice. We'll get some time skip at the end of the series or whatever, and she'll be on the ship. Nerd Culture. Did I read the Ace manga? I read the first chapter of it. I know the second chapter came out. I don't know if any more came out. But it was just strange reading something in a different art style by a different author, even though it's the same characters. Bill said, "Hey Randy, just dropping in to wish you a good stream and a great day." I appreciate that, Bill. Thanks for dropping by. All right, yeah. But when it does happen, you better show up too. Nerd Culture, waiting for Wandy to drop another one when Tama joins. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have the whole I'm gonna have a marathon. There's gonna be so many clips of me saying that it's gonna happen that it might have to be its own separate video because it would be a 5-minute intro. Aaron said Randy's underrated. Appreciate that. Kieran D. Dragon, underrated moment. Blackbeard and his gang running away from Akainu. Yeah, that scene doesn't get talked about enough. People forget about that. And Bonnie being captured by them and all that. And the dialogue between Bonnie and Akainu. I'm waiting for that to become relevant again. For sure. TJBJ 32 said 5 minutes, more like 15 minutes. The whole video will just be all of that. Andrew Hunter asks, what are my predictions for 10-12? I have predictions. I did hear that spoilers are out, so I really don't want to. I don't want to see any spoilers in the chat if people already know what's going to happen. But if there are any anime onlys, I'm going to start talking about stuff that you may not want to hear. And I'm actually probably going to wrap up the stream pretty soon anyway, because I've actually done my whole list. And we've talked about a lot of really great stuff here. AJ1218 spitting facts. Carrot is a teen, Tama is a child, and that child has a bigger role in this arc than Carrot did in 3. Boom. Chin said the moment Tama joins Randy Troy will be trending. Tama being a Kurozumi theory is underrated. Thanks, ABC. 10-12 predictions. So I want more CP0. You know? Like, we got them in 10:03. We got them, briefly to talk about Momo's fruit. But now that Law is downstairs, like, I just need Law and CP0 to interact, because, like, if you remember in Dressrosa, Law was the first person to introduce us to the concept of CP0. So, and you already know from my Law theory and everything like that I feel like, that's because Law is in Sword, and Sword is a counter to CP0 and the Celestial Dragons, based off of the conversations that we've seen Sword members having. They're interested in what CP0 is doing, like as if they're against them. So if Law manages to overhear or run into CP0, that would be interesting. I don't necessarily see that happening in 10-12 or anything like that, but, I want that to happen soon. We're definitely going to get more of Ulti versus Big Mom. I wouldn't be surprised if Ulti, like, headbutts Big Mom. I talked about a couple of predictions for 10-12 in the review. I did put a review out, if anybody doesn't know, that I did put a video out, intro and all. So you can check that out. Let's see if we got anything else going on here. And don't forget, guys, no spoilers here. All right. Don Quixote D. Joker said Tama's role is a plot device. No, it is a perfectly structured thing, okay? In an arc filled with folklore and folk tales, Tama, her whole story, everything that she's doing, she's just like many other characters in the arc. She's based on Momotaro, and everything that she's doing feeds into that. Everything was foreshadowed. Everything was meant to draw these things. People are upset about the Big Mom thing. It was set up. It was set up. The moment that Tama ate Oshiruko and then Big Mom ate Oshiruko, they were tied together. That's it. So. Reese said, Randy, in December you should do a video called 2021 A Year of W's in Review, in which you go through all of your W's. Half of the video will just be stuff about 1008, where I predicted the entire chapter. Pedro versus Tamago is also an underrated thing. Didn't really talk about Pedro much, but he's underrated. Jesus, super chat, thank you.
Savage.
Randy, love your vids. Have become one of my favorite YouTubers in recent times. Hope to see you keep making vids. Thanks, Jesus. Yeah, that's the plan. You know, I'm definitely gonna be here to talk about the chapters every week. You know, I want to do more videos. I want to do more things. I want to expand the channel out, you know, a bit. You know, before I started really turning this into a One Piece thing, you know, this was a channel for, you know, my, you know, film industry endeavors, whether that was acting, music videos, you know, that I directed, short films, reels, the comedy, impressions, things like that. So don't be surprised if, you know, I get the whim to, you know, put stuff that isn't One Piece related out as well. Just because that's what this channel was before. But I still will always do, you know, if a chapter comes out, I'm going to do it. I also love doing these streams now. I never thought that I was going to be a streamer or anything like that, but I love interacting with everybody. I think it's fun, you know, and like it's something like this, you know, I don't know how much, you know, what the mileage is on, you know, chats like this that, you know, have the community response, you know, like we can say here, like what are underrated moments, and I can say mine and you can say yours, and, you know, we can go back and forth and share and, you know, and have this in the, you know, ether for people to watch and see. You know, and we did that with old theories, and you guys shared yours, you know, and we did that with, you know, the foreshadowing thing. And I like to have the theme for it, but we also did have that one hangout one where, you know, we just kind of talked about whatever. But I just like this. I like talking with you guys. I like everybody that, you know, hanging out here. You know, this is fun. You know, as Mars gets a little more independent and all of that, and, you know, I get some more free time, you know, cranking out more videos will be easier. So I'm hoping to do that, expand the channel, make more videos, make more things. You know, like I see here, Matt Stefanowitz said you should do a misunderstood character analysis on Hody Jones, probably the most hated OP villain. I do want to do misunderstood characters series. I don't know if I want to do one on Hody, because I'm also one of the people that doesn't really like Hody, but I definitely want to do, you know, a character analysis on like Bellamy, so that people understand why he is goated. One on Parasparrow, probably like Mr. 3, you know, like, you know, I'm not going to like do one on Crocodile, because it's like everybody, you know, most people like Crocodile. You know, I want to do it on the characters that people like, most people don't necessarily care about. There's not much to misunderstand with Hody or like Wapple. Vitor Dazan said, create a membership. I do have the ability with the channel to do it. And some people have asked about it. And I think it would be cool, since we do a lot of streams, because you can get emojis and stuff. And so I kind of want to do that. But it's just weird the way YouTube sets it up, because it's like you have to, it has like this drop down menu, and you have to make these promises of like, you know, this is stuff that, you know, like you know, you want to give your members like videos early and stuff like that. And a lot of it is just like commitments that I'm not necessarily like ready for yet with Mars, you know. So it's like I don't want to put the membership out and then have YouTube create these promises for me that I can't necessarily live up to. So that's why I haven't opened the channel up for a membership. I wish it was like a thing where I could just put it up, set up the emojis and all this stuff or whatever, and not have it make me choose things. But I don't know. It's weird. But they also just let me make merch, and I'm just waiting for some free time. I've been working on some ideas for different things. And I just want to make some, like, I'll make stuff that's like channel related, but then I also just want to make some stuff that I think is just cool. Tom said, "How is Mars?" He's great. He's 4 months old yesterday. He's doing great. He's babbling. He's got an infectious smile. I love it. Galaxy said, "Yo, make a vid with O'Hara. He is so good at character analysis." I've never even had a conversation with O'Hara. But I did see the video that he made on Vivi, and I thought it was like one of the best videos in the community. Rao said, "Where's the merch?" I'm working on it. I'm working on it, guys. I don't know. I'll try and get some stuff out by like the next stream or something. You know, like I'll put some stuff out, and then like, you know, I'll try and make it a thing. Like every once in a while, I'll put like some sort of new thing, sort of shirt design or something, like if I feel like it, or you know, something, or if we get something trending or whatever, it might be funny. I'd love to be able to use like actual art from, you know, the series and stuff like that, but you know, I'm not trying to get copyrights. Oh, Brago's in here. What's up, my man? We're almost at the end here. We've been talking about underrated moments. My man said, "Save me a Savage shirt when they drop." You know that's coming. That's definitely coming. Brago, you still in here, man? What's your favorite underrated moment from the series? Lucy B said, "O'Hara lives in Japan, therefore time zones might be a problem." Not necessarily, not now, because if he was, I mean, I guess it could be a problem depending on him. I don't know. I'm up pretty early now with Mars. I used to be like a super night owl, like go to bed at 5 in the morning. I can't do that anymore. I'm like going to bed at like 9 p.m. I've never done that in my life. And then I'm waking up at 5 in the morning. So it would be like, but 5 in the morning would be like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. in Japan. Brago said, favorite underrated would probably be Luffy carrying Nami in Drum Island. That's a great moment. Yeah, we talked about that. That was one of the first ones that got brought up a lot. But I mean, that's the moment. I said this earlier, but that's the moment where you really see Luffy's determination, right? Like that's the moment that, at least for me, like made me say, okay, like I can see this dude getting to the Grand Line. I can see him on this journey to become the Pirate King based off of this. Like this man scaled this mountain with his crew in his teeth. So, yeah. That's yeah. It's it doesn't get talked about enough, And we talked about Shushu. We talked about a lot of stuff. Let's see, some of my other tops that we talked about just to round everything off. Mr. 3 countering Magellan washing the Blackbeard pirates. Anel restarting his heart after Wiper killed him. Vivi cutting off Crocodile's face. Cutting off Crocodile's head. Zoro's pose in Little Garden. Kyros in general as a character. Like, name anything Kyros and it's underrated. The hiking bear joke. One of the ones I liked that was brought up was Cavendish's dialogue to Law in the sunflower field about how if Law is going to die, then Cavendish is going first. So much stuff. Yeah. Braga said he was willing to risk whatever for his crew. It's so damn good. I'm right with you, my man. I'm right with you. We got people in the chat saying we're waiting for that collab stream. Let's see what else everybody's saying in here. We did actually collab recently. Check out Henny Cool Brothers 16. Brago said those are some really good ones. Yeah, we talked about a lot, man. I mean, we're at 2 hours, 12 minutes right now. Oh, you heard it here first, guys. Brago D Ace. Collab stream definitely will be happening soon. My man. Galaxy. For you, everything Blackbeard is underrated. Alright, first of all, the Blackbeard speech in Jaya is highly regarded. Alright, we talked about this. There's highly regarded, there's underrated. There's no overrated. We're not doing that. Alright? The Blackbeard speech in Jaya is highly regarded. People talk about it all the time. They talk about how Oda didn't even draw the background. He just left it all white. Just to set it in motion that this should be known. I remember I had a game for the GameCube. What was it? It was either the Treasure one or it was Grand Battle 3. And it started with the Blackbeard speech. Like, that's how highly regarded it is. Like, it opened up with Blackbeard's speech in the thing. Oh man, that's a good one, my man. Brago said, "I think the Katakuri and Brulee moment is beautiful. Might be underrated." That is underrated because you take a fight like Katakuri and Luffy, which is highly regarded, right? But the Katakuri and Brulee moment at the end, plus Katakuri's backstory, which I don't think gets talked about enough, underrated. Yeah. Facts. And then just understanding where Brulee got her scar. Realizing that Brulee is the member of the family that Katakuri, like, loves the most. So that's why, like, Luffy, why he was mad at Luffy for, putting this chick in a bag. Yeah. That's a good one. Let's see. Reese said, "Randy, I gotta go. Glad I could provide a nice theme. It was a great stream as always. I'll try to think of other themes. Bye, guys. Bye, Randy. All the best to you, Chrissy, and Lil D Mars." Yeah, appreciate it, Reese. This is a great idea for a stream. I've had a lot of fun putting my list together, hearing everybody else's list. Yeah, Brago's right. So Noor said Doflamingo's justice speech in Marineford, highly regarded. That's like, if you play any like One Piece video games also, right? Like that's the scene that they, like you were talking Pirate Warriors, we're talking what was that one for the Xbox? Blood, Burning Blood. Like they didn't like animate anything from Marineford, but they made sure to animate like Dofi's speech. Like that is that's up there with When Does a Man Die as far as like quoted things. Like you go onto a forum and if you expect to see a quote in someone's signature, like it's gonna be When Does a Man Die? It's gonna be that speech from Dofi. Like that's a top 5 speech in the series, top 3 probably. Yeah, I had all the GameCube games back in the day, man. I like imported them on eBay in like the mid 2000s, and I had a freeloader. This was before the 4Kids dub. I would like put this disc into my GameCube first, and then I would put the other disc in, and then I'd play it. And I think I had to go onto a website to figure out how to navigate the menu. Well, yeah, you start learning some Japanese real quick. Brago said there's a moment in Thriller Bark between Kuma and Moria that has some riveting dialogue. I remember the panel. Both of them side by side. Yeah. Man. That's a good underrated moment too. Just Kuma and Moria meeting up, having their conversation about the state of the world. They're talking about, what's happening now that Blackbeard's joining up. Because Kuma was obviously at Marineford for that meeting in episode 151, and then that Blackbeard was now taking Crocodile's spot. Yeah, that's great. Ryo said Burning Blood was nothing but Marineford. Yeah, I was actually salty about that too. Like, I bought the game and I thought I was going to get a full story mode. That's why I actually appreciated Pirate Warriors 3. See, I never had the 4Kids versions of the games. You know, Ryo's talking about how they called Ace Trace and all this other stuff. Like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I already knew what the real, you know, what it was really. So I was like, I can't do this. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, I went through my whole list, man. You know, Pinwheel at the grave at the end of Arlong Park. Luffy kicking out the desk in Arlong Park. Zoro testing his luck at the sword shop. Parasparrow's speech to the judge. Bellamy's whole character growth. Finding the other half of Cricket's house in the sky. Sanji opening the gates of justice. Mr. 2 saving the crew from Hina, as opposed to the Impel Down save. Spider's Cafe. Oh, big one. This was on my list. I actually missed it. The moment that got me into the series. Luffy getting eaten by the bird on the way to Orangetown. Right? As a kid, when I read when I was, you know, reading the series first, the first chapter I read was chapter 5. And the moment Luffy got eaten by that bird and carried over to Orangetown, I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep reading. So let's see. Brago said, Kuma in general, his overall sacrifice might be underrated. He had an impact on so many major outcomes. Yeah. Yeah. You know, like, highly regarded would definitely be, you know, like, nothing happened and him sending everybody away. But there's so many underrated Kuma moments. You know, him protecting the ship. We talked about that. Him, you know, the whisper to Rayleigh. Him sending Perona away. Asking Nami if Luffy's really Dragon's son. Refined said, guys, has Randy seen the new Viva card info? So I haven't seen all of it. I know that some of it is out. Have there been, like, accurate translations? Like, people have tagged me in the Tama stuff, because obviously I got my Tama theory and all of that. So I know, you know, Tama got the Kibi Kibi no Mi, that her birthday is a day after Sanji's and all that, but don't say gotta go. Really enjoyed the stream. Have a good day. Thanks, you too. Is there like more info out? Like, did Artur translate it or something? Because I was gonna end the stream, but I mean, I guess, like, I could read some of that stuff and go over it. Are there actual translations, guys? Oh, this Viva card stuff? Yeah. So, I yeah. Until our tour, translates it, or there's something a little more tangible and everything or whatever. I don't want to start going off of everything. But I'm excited to see it either way. Like, I've seen little bits and stuff. Like, it was revealed that Toko is not actually Tonoyasu's dad. I read. That was kind of nuts. That Toko's family actually died and Tonoyasu just took her in. That's wild to me. Stefax99 said, I reread Davy Back recently and it's still bad. Sorry, it almost feels like a filler. Nah. We ain't about that over here. We appreciate Davy Back over here. You'll appreciate it when it comes back. Because just like everything, the same way that Dressrosa is just Alabasta if Crocodile won, and there's like so many callbacks to Thriller Bark and Eddie's Lobby and everything in the post-time skip era. There's going to be a serious Davy Back fight at some point. Triple Seven Guy 1 says, oh, I know an underrated moment for Usopp during Eddie's Lobby when Jabra is sleeping and Usopp is slowly trying to sneak in and get the key. Yeah, that's good. And another underrated moment is when Zoro and Usopp get cuffed together, right? And then Zoro starts using Usopp as his other sword. That was hilarious. That was great. Ugh. All right, guys. I think that's gonna do it for me. But this was a lot of fun. I love the community engagement. It's a lot of fun. We had a good cameo from my man Brago. And AJ said, the only thing in One Piece that hasn't come back is Gin. He's still getting cigarettes. He's out getting cigarettes for 20 years. He said he's coming back, though. I'm holding on to it. Dad said he's coming back. But yeah, guys, so 10/12 will be out this coming week. We'll do the stream as normal for that. We'll have the review and discussion afterwards. And then I'll make, my video with intros and all that. But as always, this was fun. The next time we have a break week stream, we'll try and come up with another theme. If we can't, we'll still try and hang out, And this is just fun. This is fun. Look at how many people come together and we just sit around and talk about this series. I still can't get enough of it. I'm just wowed. Alright, guys. That's it. I'm gonna go check on my boy. Later, everybody. Lots of fun. I'll see you soon.